Hello, my name's Michael Conneely, and this video tells us all about the full moon of the 23rd of May 2024. And this full moon really does offer us significant opportunities and also significant demands. There are some very important opportunities to understand at the time around the 23rd of May 2024 and onwards into that lunation. And also some deep significant demands presented to each of us as well. It's really important to start by looking at the three major prevailing energies and then the rest of the detail of the full moon, so you can decide which of these demands and which of these opportunities you are now really called to work with. So the first demand and opportunity is revolution. There was a super powerful Uranus-Jupiter conjunction on the 22nd of April. Uranus and Jupiter have since been going forward together towards Vedic Taurus. Jupiter's already entered Taurus. Now the Uranus-Jupiter combination can bring thank the Lord success, revolution, expansion. We each need to pause and do vision work and intention setting work now to identify the details of, as far as we can, and bring in our needed revolution now. So you need to pause at this time to identify what is my needed revolution. What particular facets of my personality must I really apply revolution to? What particular circumstances of my life must I particularly bring needed revolution to? And then you must bring your needed revolution into being. Decide, how are you going to do that? There are many methods. I myself tend to use vision work and tarot and shamanic journeying. But as I say, there are many methods to suit different people. And it's very important to identify, do you have blocks to embodying and expressing your needed revolution? And if so, how are you going to heal those blocks? What blocks do I have? How am I going to heal them now? So the second major point is finances. Since the Uranus-Jupiter conjunction of the 22nd of April, Jupiter's been transiting through Vedic Taurus, which is the sign of wealth and groundedness. Jupiter's been doing that since the 1st of May. And Jupiter actually transits in Taurus until the 15th of May next year. Now Uranus enters Taurus on the 1st of June. So this means that matters of our finances are so very ripe for each of us to work on and to succeed in improving them. Cooperate with the Jupiter-Uranus gift energies towards finances by bringing in revolution and increasing wealth and abundance. Say these words out loud over and over again through this month of May 2024. Revolution, wealth, abundance. Prosperity, expansion, support. And study your astrology, get a reading, decide, do you have a personal block to creating financial success? Is it a karma you carry? And if so, how are you going to heal that? In fact, there could be blocks to your financial gains expressed in your astrology. So one example of this is for a Vedic Cancer ascendant. And Vedic Cancer ascendants have Taurus as a Bardika house. Now, Bardika means that the state of the house is diminished, even ruined for that people with that ascendant. Taurus is their 11th house of gains, and they won't be so good at realizing gains until they come to try and heal that karma. So it's definitely the time to heal that disability in our life for this incarnation, and therefore for future incarnations too. I say this because we each of us do carry unhealed karmas towards our future lives, unless we can end those karmas in this life. Now, if you have Saturn conjunct Venus in your birth chart, the same disadvantaging fate applies. If you have Saturn in your second house in your birth chart, the same disadvantaging fate applies, and so on. But we can work to heal these karmas. And of course, we have to identify them with clarity first. Now, the third main point of this May astrology is power. Pluto stationed on the 2nd of May at 7 Capricorn. And Pluto ends May at this very same degree, 7 Capricorn. So Pluto is effectively stationary. And when a planet's stationary, it carves its energy with such deeper, vaster power in our lives, in our consciousness. So this means, with Pluto stationary, that issues to do with your power are really pressed into your face now. Don't ignore them. Will you use this challenging energy, this challenging feeling, this challenging demand for awareness to come into your proper power now? An awful lot of us have our proper power buried. It's buried into our unconscious, it's buried into our shadow. Just for one example, unaspected Pluto in the birth chart, particularly shows up in the Western birth chart, is a key for that, for having, having yourself normally cut off from your power. How are you going to do the work to shine forth now more in your proper power? How are you going to do the work to embody more your proper power? How are you going to do the work to speak more with your proper power? It's so important. Now, Pluto is in the birth chart of the United States at 6 Capricorn, and of course that's conjunct where Pluto is now in the heavens at 7. This means that the USA is having its Pluto return now. It's very helpful if we can each decide how well is the country managing issues of power. And how well are each of us coping with the aberrations and extremes and verbiage and sensationalism? Is it diminishing our power? Is it distracting us? Is it diminishing us? Because we absolutely, us humans, do need to live standing in our proper power. We need to resist being controlled. We need to resist being bullied. But of course, we actually do need to do needed work if we are to come into our proper power. We actually need to do needed work to bring our buried power to the light and heal that way. We need to assert ourselves clearly and properly. We need to eliminate harmful influences, whether these are embedded in us from our past lives or from our early experiences in this life. Now, the Pluto stationary period is, of course, the journey to the abyss. Do enroll with me to do with me your own journey to the abyss in the context of an astrology reading, which I can give you, majoring on your Pluto issues, but of course covering the whole of your astrology. And then armed with that, you can do, and I can help you do, the journey down into your unconscious material, into your shadow material, and then do the needed work to reclaim your fullness, reclaim your power, reclaim your love. This is also a very important month for healing, a very important time for healing. Ketu, the south node of the moon, is transiting Vedic Virgo at this time. Currently, Ketu is at 19 degrees Vedic Virgo. And for everyone, this absolutely is priority time to do any needed healing in your life now. I'm encountering person after person who has succeeded in embracing now new healing modalities at this time, who's doing so well in finding healing that could not be found before. Healing to all sorts of health problems. Please do hear this. Now let's look at some of the specific energies of this full moon. Well, the moon itself is at 8 Vedic Virgo, using the sidereal zodiac. It's in Anuradha Nakshatra. That's 2 degrees western tropical zodiac, Sagittarius. Now, with full moon in Scorpio energies, this is death and rebirth energies. Serpent energy, and such valuable serpent energy. Remember, snakes shed skins. Snakes can be so powerful. Resolving issues that need to be resolved now. This full moon's a helpful energy. And in terms of the nakshatras, the wonderful 27-sign lunar zodiac of Vedic astrology, this full moon's in Anuradha Nakshatra. Now, Anuradha Nakshatra energy is associated with difficult relationships with mothers. Anuradha is associated with maternal nurture deprivation and melancholy from that. Anuradha is ruled by Saturn. So this full moon's energy is all about restraints, aspiring for your best, identifying and meeting your karma. That's the call now. Now, Sun at the time of this full moon is in 8 Vedic Taurus in Kritika Nakshatra. That's 2 Western Gemini. With Sun in Kritika Nakshatra, well, Kritika Nakshatra is actually ruled by the Sun. So be prepared to connect to contact good, strong Sun energy now, because the Sun will have immense courage and confidence at the time of this full moon. But the downside of the Kritika is beware being quick-tempered or stubborn or sharp-tongued. Sun transits Taurus from May the 15th to June the 15th. Okay, let's look at Venus. Well, Venus transits Taurus from May the 19th to June the 12th. Venus is conjunct Sun in Taurus at the time of this full moon, with Venus now at 5 degrees Taurus. And it's conjunct Sun. Jupiter's aspect of Venus can promote love and relationship. You see, each planet has is a face of the divine in Vedic astrology. And the face of the divine that Jupiter brings to this world is blessing, connection to the divine and sense of purpose. And Jupiter is aspecting Venus. But we need to know that Venus is very close to the Sun, which means that Venus is combust from April the 27th to July the 10th. So we must each of us beware behaving irately in relationships. Beware arguments. Beware irritation. Beware rage. And also note, very importantly, that Venus is out of sight in the heavens behind the Sun. And Venus going behind the Sun parallels Pluto's call for each of us to come better into our proper power now. This is because this Venus transit behind the Sun equates to Venus' descent into the underworld, journey to the abyss. So in the powerful and beautiful Mesopotamian myth, Inanna, or Ishtar, goddess of the earth, descended into the underworld to retrieve her dead husband for whom she grieved so much. And Inanna suffered horrifically on the way down into the abyss, and suffered horrifically when she arrived there, because she hoped for help from her sister Ereshkigal, goddess of the underworld, but Ereshkigal hung Inanna on a meat hook, although she was naked and bereft. But the humans managed to get her rescued, and she was returned to the earth. And this is the important thing. When she returned from her journey to the abyss, Inanna was transformed. At first, she was goddess of the earth. Now she was goddess of love as well. And that transition into vaster love can come to all of us as we heal our deficiencies by journeying to the abyss. Now, it's important to know that the Mesopotamians saw the Inanna myth as based on Venus disappearing behind the Sun and then returning to the heavens after her descent. And that's happening now. It's very important to know also that the wonderful, powerful Greek story of Persephone's abduction to the underworld, where she was appointed by Pluto or Hades to reign beside him as its queen, is also so relevant to this. Because as you can gather from that tiny synopsis of the story, Persephone's descent into the underworld vastly increased her power. She became queen of the realm of the dead. Okay, so the next point I want to make is that Jupiter is conjunct Venus at the time of this full moon. So this does impart a blessing to Venus. So let's try and connect to that. We can each of us steady down amid the other difficult energies to Venus and seek to feel and connect with the sense of blessing that is also there. Jupiter and Venus are both at 5 Taurus at this time of full moon. And please note that the Jupiter-Venus conjunction is good for finances. Watch out for that. Implement it. And note that the Venus ruled signs of Taurus and Libra will really feel the blessings of Jupiter now. Note incidentally that upcoming from the 1st to the 7th of June next month, Venus is so close to the Sun it actually becomes what Vedic astrology calls Kazimi, which is such a blessing for our creativity and love. So be open to receiving and cooperating with Venus Kazimi energies. So let's go on to look at Mars. Well, Mars is separating a bit from the awful angry conjunction he has been in with Rahu North Node in Pisces. And also the ghastly geomagnetic storms are waning a bit. And also Mercury has moved out of his retrograde zone and out of his Gandanta zone crossing. So things are improving a bit. The Mars-Rahu North Node conjunction was actually exact on the 23rd of May, with Mars and Rahu both at 19 Pisces. But now Mars is at 23 Pisces, the gap is widening a bit, and Rahu, always retrograde, is at 19 Pisces. Please be aware what a lot of anger and impatience and irritation the Mars-Rahu combination can bring. That's because Rahu North Node is a vast force. It's our fate and destiny direction in our individual chart. And it can instill in us doubt, fear and billowing illusion from its transits. Rahu creates insatiable, unending desires. Rahu creates obsessional behaviour you can't stop. And Rahu will be inflicting this on your sense of Mars, so affecting how you use your action man, action woman, courage and strength, and creating conflict and aggression and diversion instead.